Hunter x Hunter chapters 391 to 395 take the black whale and push it deeper into controlled chaos. This is the point where the succession war stops feeling distant in the background and the lower tiers start becoming their own battlefield of Mafia strategy, hidden nen, and rising paranoia. And what makes this section so good is that Togashi does not rush. He lets the tension build through investigation, misdirection, and faction pressure. So in this video, we are focusing only on chapters 391 through 395, what happens in each one, why the Mafia conflict matters, and why chapter 395 changes the emotional temperature of the entire arc. Quick context first. The Black Whale is still traveling toward the Dark Continent while the Kakin succession contest continues above. Kurapika is dealing with the princes and the royal side of the conflict, but down below, the Zayu, Char, and Heil-Ly families are creating a separate crisis. The Heil-Ly family, led by Morena, is especially dangerous because its members are not just gangsters. They are being turned into progressing killers through a nen-based system that rewards murder and pushes escalation. At the same time, the Phantom Troupe is on the ship searching for Hisoka. That means the lower tiers are becoming a collision point between organized crime, unstable nen users, and one of the most dangerous groups in the series. Now let's go chapter by chapter. Chapter 391 keeps a lot of attention on Hinrigh, and honestly, that is exactly the right choice. Hinrigh is one of the sharpest pieces on the board because he does not waste movement. He watches people, studies routes, keeps his cool, and uses nen in practical ways that make him feel more like a detective than a flashy fighter. We also stay with Zakuro and Lynch as the Zayu search for Hisoka continues. That matters because it shows the family is not just reacting blindly. They are trying to lock down information before the situation gets worse. The real strength of the chapter is how it presents the Heil-Ly as a new kind of threat. They do not feel like a traditional Mafia crew. They feel chaotic, game-like, and deeply unstable. The idea that killing is tied to advancement under Morena changes the logic of every encounter. Violence is no longer only about profit or control. It becomes a form of progression. Hinrigh's use of biohazard also stands out here. Transforming ordinary objects and using them tactically says a lot about Hunter x Hunter as a power system. Nen rewards creativity, and characters like Hinrigh become dangerous because they think better under pressure. Chapter 392 expands the atmosphere of uncertainty. Now the question is not just who is moving where, but how much hidden territory the Heil-Ly already control inside the ship. Hinrigh follows leads that point toward a concealed room outside the official plans of the Black Whale, and that is a major strategic detail. If the Heil-Ly have already built hidden space inside the vessel, then they are not just lurking in the chaos, they are shaping it. We also get one of those eerie Hunter x Hunter moments where nen keeps influencing events even after death. Post-mortem nen makes the world feel unforgiving and technical at the same time. It reminds you that ability design in this series is never just decoration. It changes how bodies, evidence, and even cleanup work. The search for Hisoka also feels more immediate in this chapter. Whether the sighting is exactly what it seems or not, the important thing is that Hisoka's presence bends the plans of everyone around him. Once people think he is close, priorities shift. Chapter 393 is where the Phantom Troupe really changes the equation. Luini tries to approach Nobunaga, Finks, and Phaeton like they are potential allies in pure chaos. He assumes they will respect cruelty for its own sake, and that is where he completely misreads them. Nobunaga kills him almost immediately. That moment is not just shocking, it is clarifying. The troupe may be terrifying, but they are not impressed by empty nihilism. Luini is chaotic in a shallow, attention-seeking way. Nobunaga's response tells us that the troupe still operates with its own internal sense of meaning, loyalty, and disgust. Strategically, this chapter is huge because it turns the Heil-Ly into a direct enemy of the troupe. Once that happens, the lower tier conflict becomes much more lethal. Morena's people are no longer only dealing with the Zayu and Char structures. Now they have the Phantom Troupe paying attention to them. And on the Black Whale, that is the kind of development that can break whatever balance still exists. Chapter 394 keeps pushing the story away from straightforward battle logic and further into thriller territory. This chapter is all about hypothesis, uncertainty, and the idea that space itself may be weaponized. Hinrigh follows the trail of the hidden room and starts realizing that the old man involved may not be what he appears to be. The deeper he gets, the less stable normal investigation feels. Bodies may be fake, rooms may be traps, People may be bait. That is what makes this chapter so tense. Nobody can trust the surface of what they are seeing. The Heil-Ly are not only hiding in the ship, they are using deception as infrastructure. Their power comes partly from the fact that anyone trying to understand them has to walk through uncertainty first. This is also where Togashi keeps reinforcing one of the central truths of the arc. Knowledge about an end user is survival value. Charging ahead without understanding the rules is exactly how characters get eliminated. By the end of the chapter, the Black Whale feels less like a vessel and more like a puzzle box with criminal factions operating on top of secret Nen architecture. Then chapter 395 changes everything emotionally. Instead of staying in the present conflict, Togashi cuts back to Meteor City and begins exploring the childhood of Krallo, Pakunoda, Sheila, Sarasa, and the others. The tone shift is immediate and powerful. After so much suspicion, menace, and lower deck maneuvering, we suddenly get warmth. Children making things together. Tapes dubbing church rooms, friendship built out of scraps. There is real tenderness here, and that is exactly why the chapter hits as hard as it does. Togashi does not start this flashback with violence. He starts it with community. He wants us to see that before the Phantom Troupe became a symbol of fear, these were children with imagination, affection, and shared joy in a place the world had already thrown away. Meteor City's background matters here too. Its people are treated as disposable by outside society. That history frames the troupe's eventual evolution in a very different light. It does not excuse what they become, but it does explain the emotional and social conditions that shaped them. So if we step back and look at chapters 391 through 395 together, what do they accomplish? First, they escalate the Mafia conflict by showing that the Heil-Ly are not just violent, they are structurally destabilizing. Second, they raise the threat level through the Phantom Troupe's direct involvement. Third, they transform the atmosphere of the arc by shifting from investigation and faction warfare into a deeply human flashback that recontextualizes the spiders. Hinrigh comes out of this stretch looking like one of the smartest operators on the ship. Nobunaga reminds us that the troupe is more emotionally complex than it first appears. Morena's influence keeps feeling more dangerous because she is not just commanding people, she is reshaping them. And chapter 395 opens the door to one of the most important emotional revelations in the Black Whale storyline. So part 1 of this chapter range is really about two things happening at once. In the present, the ship is becoming harder to govern. In the past, Togashi is preparing us to understand why the Phantom Troupe became what it is. And that combination is exactly what makes this section so strong.